Good day, everybody. It is, in fact, my pleasure for being among you people virtually and attend the virtual conference, international conference on Geo-Eco-Agro, that it was supposed to be held in Montenegro during these days, but unfortunately, due to outbreaking of COVID-19 throughout the globe, then it was decided to be taken place virtually. In fact, today, I would like to especially thank for all organizers of the conference that I know that how much effort they have devoted to materialize it. And I especially and profoundly I would like to thank Veliver Spalovich, who personally did lots of efforts and attempts to get it finalized in a right way. Today, I'm going to have a short talk about land degradation management through watershed health assessment. This is Seyed HAMIDREZA Sadeghi, as a professor at Department of Watershed Management Engineering, Faculty of Natural Resources, Tarbiyat Modares University, Iran. And also I am the former president of Watershed Management Society of Iran, and presently I am the deputy president of World Association of Soil and Water Conservation. In fact, everybody knows about land degradation, and it might not be very new to you people too, but you know we have different types of land degradation throughout the globe, that they are mainly due to different types of erosion, which is either made by wind or water, and also chemical ones as well as physical erosion. And you know it has been distributed throughout the globe in different continents from Africa to Oceania, although with different percentages of distribution. And also we know there are many different causes behind, like deforestation, overgrazing, agriculture, and industrial. And what are the results of such overexploitation of the resources? This is degradation. This is land degradation, that it has made lands less resistance, less resilient, and more fragile. So now we are in this position, and it shows that we are facing degraded phase. So whenever we are facing degraded phase, we have to think about it, that how we can manage it. Due to this type of degradation, we are missing different types of ecosystem services, like provisioning services, like regulating services, and also cultural services. And you know very well that it causes many different consequences to different aspects of economy, regulation, ecology, and also culture. So we have to think about this issue over posing entire globe, so that it is land degradation. Land degradation causes many different types of issues, and you know mainly it has affected water and food, and it causes insecurity in water and food supply for the human being. So what is the main goal for managers then? The main goal for the manager is just getting back to the balanced situation. So the most important thing is that what is balanced situation and how can it be get access? And so that's why we have to understand, and we have to define the healthy and unhealthy situation of the ecosystem. It is totally analogous to the human health assessment. We now, when we would like to judge about health of the people, so we have to have some type of, in fact, assessment. And the assessment has to be properly taken into account, otherwise it will misguide, and it will make us to misunderstood. And if we understood wrongly, so we never expect to prescribe the right medicine and the right treatment for the patient. So we have to have some techniques through which we would be able to find out what health situation is our watershed and our ecosystem. As per the definition which has been given by Jones, in fact, the watershed health is a state in which resources management activities sustain human needs as well as uses of the watershed while ensuring the ecological function is maintained. So it means there is a balance between human needs and also ecological needs. So we have a very balanced situation in our human needs and also watershed and ecosystem needs. So to get access to proper level of ecosystem health, we have to have some indicators to be properly selected, and that they are be supposed as the main principle for proper indicators of watershed health assessment. To evaluate ecosystem health, either qualitative or quantitative one, we need some main principles that they have to be taken into account. So what are those criteria? As you might in fact guess, assess integrative ecosystem health. So it means that the watershed health and the ecosystem health have to be integratively assessed. And also we have to be able to describe the level of degradation in a particular ecosystem, and we have to understand the distress syndrome of the ecosystem. And also our assessment has to reflect the function and structure of the ecosystem. It has to represent sustainability of human coupled ecosystem. So it means these two parts of the ecosystem has to be considered in a coupled form. And also it has to present the goal of natural resources and ecosystem management. We have to know why we are going to manage the ecosystem. So to select our criteria properly, we need some key indicators. Our indicators have to be sensitive to the stresses. They have to be simple and easy to apply. They have to be strong scientific basis. They need to be possible to quantify. They have to be anticipatory in responses to stressors. And finally, they have to target to the goal of the management. So it has to be in the same direction of the management goals. So here I have very good in fact idea to discuss in this regard as well. Here I would like to tell you that to understand the watershed health situation, we need to know driving forces, we have to know pressures, we should understand states and also exposure and also effects, that it is called as the main health conditions. And also finally it leads to the proper action, that it is briefly called as DPSEAA as a part of headlamp. See the concept here. Headlamp stands for Health and Environment Analysis for Decision Making Project. That it is really as a headlamp. What is headlamp? Everybody knows that headlamp is a lamp which shows the right way to the user. So if a guy has a headlamp, so he or she will be able to find out the road very well and nicely. So he or she can get access to final destiny. So we are also looking in this concept. So here see what we are looking really. In fact, we are really looking for the action plans. What we are doing for the ecosystem and what you are going to do for the ecosystem management is just action plans. So it has to lead to the action plan. So if you would like to have a right action plans, so we have to know our driving force, we have to know our pressure, we have to know our state situation, and also we have to know exposure and effects as well. So here, see, these different types of elements would help us to find out the proper action plan, that they are either stands among preventative techniques, hazard management approaches, environment improvements, protective ones, and even corrective ones. Without knowing those information, we would not be able to designate appropriate action plan. That it is the main and final goal for a manager and decision maker as well. So here I would like to tell you also that there is a rule that it is called butterfly model, and this one also has to be considered while we are assessing the issues in our watersheds. And what is that? The butterfly model emphasizes on controllability of different sectors. So we have to know our sectors up to which extent can be controlled. Punctuality. There is discipline in the system. Interrelationships. So we have some also interrelationships among our different sectors in the ecosystem, and also kingdom. Here it has been mimicked in a butterfly type that you can see here, that this is the butterfly. You can simply see this butterfly. But what is the concept of this butterfly? It is the shape of butterfly, but see, in left hand side you will see perception. What are perception? Perceptions are awareness, which has come from, they have come from visual information and auditive information. And where do they go? They go for reaction. That it is totally depend on the motion and also performance. What is between these two parts and between these two wings of the butterfly? It is called cognition. This is called cognition. That it is taken out from decision making. And the decision making itself is based on many different other criteria. But in the case of our concept and in the field of our context, the cognition is made through health assessment. So this is the criterion based on which we would be able to translate the perception to reaction, the condition to the action plan. So here I am going to discuss about one of the most important concepts, which is based on this concept that I already discussed about, that it is called PSR Framework, or it is called Pressure, State and Response Framework. That, as it is being seen here, it consists of three circles. That it is started by pressure, it causes some states in the system, and then finally it leads to some responses. So this approach and this concept has been initially introduced by Rapport and Friend in 1979, and then it got lots of promotion and improvement. That it went to DSR, and then to PSIR, and again it went to DPSRC, and then DPSIR, and finally DPSIRM. And you will see the evolution, that it was started from the very early stages, and it led to one of the most sophisticated and comprehensive approaches, which is called DPSIRM. But all of them are based on causality. So it means whenever we are talking about any of these models, so we have to think about the pressure, state and response. And here, see the root of evolution, that it was started by PSR in 1993, and then it promoted to DPSIR in 1995, and then DPSRC in 2008, and DPSWR in 2012, and finally it reached DPSIRM in 2015. See here, what is DPSIRM? the PSIRM as one of the most completed form of the PSR framework. It consists of, as you can see here, it consists of 6 elements that totally facilitate proper management of the system. And you can see here that the management has a look at all different aspects and all different components of the system. And under each index, you will find some, in fact, important criteria based on which you would be able to quantitatively define driving force, pressure, state, impact, response, and management. The appropriate combination and amalgamation of these 6 components and indices help managers and decision makers decide properly, help them properly decide about the resources existing in a watershed system and in ecosystem. Although adjacent to these approaches, some other strategic approaches like SWOT also would help. And here you will see again that how these approaches can be amalgamated with each other and bring a very good and practical approaches. Here you will see that vulnerability of the system and vulnerability of the watershed has, in combination with watershed health, give us 4 different zones named as Zone A, Zone B, Zone T, C, and Zone D. And these zones are taken to the people who are the main beneficiaries of the decisions in the watershed scale and help us to properly decide that what type of approaches have to be applied and what type of approaches have to be practically used. Again here, SWOT may play a very important role here. And you will see that the matrix which has been developed using resilience and protection and restoration priorities, which uses watershed health, vulnerability, and social content scores, that it is social evaluation of the beneficiaries and stakeholders, give us some manner of management. It gives us how we have to deal with our watershed. To exemplify what I have discussed here, I just would like to show you that how these approaches have been practically used in reality. Here, I would like to introduce almost a forest watershed, which is called Barrow Road watershed, located in the northern part of Iran and near to the Caspian Sea. Here, it is the Mazandaran province, that it is here, and this is Caspian Sea, that it is just adjacent to the Caspian Sea. This watershed that it has been shown here, it has an area of 100 square kilometer with a mean elevation of 1849 meters above the sea level. It has mean a slope of 56%, that it is very steep sloped watershed. It has a very heavy soil, which is characterized by the hydrologic group of soils, and it contains of 7 sub-watersheds and 1 interbasins that you can simply see here. And here I have tried to show you some photos from the Study Watershed and from the place where we have applied these approaches. Here, firstly, I discuss about pressure index of PSR framework. Here you will see that we have categorized our factors into 3 categories, each of which has some criteria that totally, if we combine all these criteria together, then it gives us a value of pressure. And then here you will see a state. And in the case of a state, again we have 3 different factors of hydrologic, anthropogenic, and climatic ones. Under each category, you can find some criteria like flooding, crop number, runoff coefficient, vegetation cover density, area of agricultural land with a slope beyond 20%, forest area, and even precipitation evapotranspiration ratio. Here I have to notify that it is not necessarily to select the same criteria and the same factor for all the watersheds under study, but it varies from place to place and even time to time and even case to case, so they are totally watershed specific, and they are mainly designated based on the existing issues in the study watershed. And here you will see the third index, which is in fact response of the watershed. And here in the case of response, we have just focused on hydrologic factors, but under hydrologic factors, as you can see here, we have selected many criteria. And finally, after combining all these 3 indices with each other, and then the watershed health index could be calculated and classified from 0 to 1, and it was subclassified into 5 groups of below 0.2, 0.21 to 40, 0.41 to 60, 0.61 to 80, and finally beyond 80. And they were characterized as unhealthy, likely unhealthy, moderately healthy, likely healthy, and finally healthy situation respectively. So here you will see that in fact we try to apply the same approach that I introduced here, and you will see that the pressure index was calculated for the same watershed that you can see here, and it has been classified from unhealthy to likely healthy one. And see here, these are the likely healthy one in viewpoint of pressure, that the pressure value for the entire watershed was just 0.51, and it was devoted to hydrologic, anthropogenic, and climatic factors, and with the same, almost with the same effectiveness of 25 and 26%. And here you will see the value of a state for the study watershed, that it was in a good condition almost, and it was equal to 0.65, that it was distributed among all 3 study factors of hydrologic, anthropogenic, and climatic, with different level of contribution of 24, 31, and 23%. But it is very interesting to let you know that in fact it was categorized from healthy, that it is green color, to unhealthy, that it is white one. And here you will see the response of the watershed, that it was almost likely healthy, and it was due to hydrologic factor, that it was devoted to erosion by 36% contribution, to a specific sediment by 33% contribution, and finally discharge with 25 returns of period, 25 years of return period, that it was 31%. Again, here you will see we have fully diversified conditions in viewpoint of response, from healthy, that it is green one, to unhealthy, that it is white one. And here finally we could assess the health of the watershed based on PSR framework, that it is in this situation that it was assessed by the value of 0.59 as almost moderately healthy and likely healthy, because it is at the exactly at the border of moderately healthy and likely healthy one. But here you will see that now we have some idea about the degradation level in our watershed, and even we know the causes. So if we know the causes, if we know the density, intensity, if we know the extension, and if we know the reasons behind, so is it really difficult to manage it? I don't think so. So here you will see that we have again healthy condition, fully healthy condition, that is green, to unhealthy condition, that is white one. And we have likely healthy and also moderately healthy as well. And here, see, we try to find out the position of the watershed health of the Barrow root watershed that we studied here on the matrix of vulnerability and watershed health. And then here you will see the situation of our watershed in viewpoint of land degradation and managerial approaches is placed in zone A, that it is protect area, that it shows us what we have to really do there. It shows us what type of approaches we have to really select. It shows us that the protection is really is a need. If we do not take care of that, that it may move towards zone B, and then finally it may come to the lower part of the matrix. So it shows us that right now we are in a good position in viewpoint of land degradation and watershed health. So here again we try to apply the SWOT approach as well, and then I told you that the same approach, it was taken to the SWOT one, and then we developed the SWOT matrix, and we recognize and we analyze the internal and external factors. We try to understand what are the inherent characteristics of the watershed, what are the inherent strengths and weakness of our watershed, and what are external threats and opportunities for our watershed. So after recognizing these all dimensions and all components, then we could recognize that how are the strengths of our watershed. Here you will see that S4 is a good one, and then S3 is the lowest strength one in our watershed. And here then again you will see that the weakness 9 and the weakness you suppose be W10 or weakness 7. And here you will see the opportunities. T2 is the opportunity. Sorry, threaten, sorry, that we missed really. And here we can recognize the opportunities as well. And here finally we can see that what we have to really do for each different levels of land degradation in our watersheds. Here you will see that what are the main issues in different parts of our watersheds. That means that we have recognized the different types of our land degradation and stresses behind land degradation in our study region. Here you will suppose, so you can suppose here that in all upland areas of the watershed you have flooding and less accessibility. And then when you are coming down to the outlet of the watershed, you have low water availability because of over exploitation. You have also fuel shortage, and also loss of agricultural land has been abandoned. So these are the main issues. And see here, through applying this approach, see, Now we know the severity that it is the quantity, the quality, the type of, and also the locality of land degradation, etc. So if we know these things, so we can follow up for our approach or program. We can simply follow up for our approach or program. What is that? In fact, this 4R stands for right source, right rate, right time, and right place. So using this approach, we have to know right source, all these different components that I have already discussed about strengths, threats, opportunities, weakness, state, pressure, and even response, all are our sources. Right rate. We could recognize the severity of those affecting factors. Even we could recognize the contribution of different factors. Right time. See, whenever we are finding out the appropriate strategy to be conducted for the proper management of the watershed, it shows us that when and at which time exactly we have to go for our practices. At the early stages of protection, we can have some even best management practices and low impact developments. But whenever you are getting serious problem, and when our problem gets much more complicated and serious, so none of those elementary techniques can help us. And also right place, right now, our sub-watersheds have been classified. We know what is the worst and what is the best sub-watershed in our study watershed right now. And here, see, I'm going for conclusion. So when we know these things, and when we understood the appropriate procedure of the methodology to get combined watershed health and land degradation, then we would be able to manage our watershed and our ecosystem environmentally friendly, technically sound, and economically efficient. The result of our methodology straightly prioritize different sub-watersheds of a large one. In such way, the managers and experts right now do know what particular influential factor would play more attention and which part of the watershed need more and faster managerial strategies to control land degradation. Besides those, the type of the strategy would also recognize based on internal strengths and weakness, as well as external opportunities and threats. So at the end and in the last slide, I would like to dedicate the demo and Mount Crest to you all people who are watching this presentation, that it is the top most point in our country with the elevation of almost 5,800 meters above mean sea level. And also I would like to invite you all people to third International Youth Forum on Soil and Water Conservation WASFAC seminar, which is going to be held just at Noor Kastan Seashore at my own faculty during May 26th to 31st, 2021. Everybody welcome to our country and to this gathering. Thank you very much for your nice attention, and in case of any inquiry, please email me. Thank you very much and have a nice day and bye-bye.